Okay, we live?
Yes, Mike.
Okay.
Good.
Well, okay. Welcome everybody. Thank you for attending today's joint webinar with Need for Visualization and SAP. This webinar is Supercharge your SAP Webi with N4V. I am Michael Trickey. I am the U.S. Enterprise Account Executive with Need for Viz. Joining me today is Jérôme Maillard. He is our co-founder at Need for Viz. And representing SAP is their Director of Product Management. That's Grégory Botticchio. Just a quick order of events on how we're going to play this webinar out. Grégory is going to be telling everybody what's new with the SAP BI 4.3 SPO3. He's going to go through a presentation of the new features as well as a demo of Webi and Data Mode. And then myself and Jérôme are going to be giving you a presentation and demo of how N4V integrates with SAP BO to help you in supercharging your data. And at the end, we're going to recap with Grégory giving a quick update on the outlook of SAP BI for 2025. We're going to start off this webinar with Grégory's presentation. So Grégory, when you're ready, you have the reins, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you all today in order to share with you what's going on with SAP Business Objects. We're going to start with the BI 4.3, which is a release at your disposal today, and the release we encourage all of you to upgrade to, followed by a demo right after. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a message I used to share every time I have the occasion to present. SAP is committed to continue to invest into the on-premise BI suite and to prove that, the last time I used to share this message many times. It was at the time of the BI 4.2. The 4.3 is the proof that SAP is committed to continue to invest on the on-premise BI suite. And guess what? You might have heard this already. We will have a next release after the BI 4.3. The name of this release is SAP Business Objects BI 2025. So we continue to invest. Next one. Why the BI 4.3? Next slide, please. I'm going to recap here quickly. What were our primary objectives for this release, which has been delivered, if I'm right, it is almost already more than 3 years ago. We had 3 objectives. The first one, it was to improve the user experience for all our end user community, being a classical viewer or a power user, a designer. Second objective, the targeted personas were the IT, or can we improve the deployment phase of the BI 4.3 on top of the BI 4.2, for instance. And last but not least, the hybrid. Let's go for the details. Next slide, please.
Okay, I just want to interject. If anybody has any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to write them in the comment section. We'll go over them after the webinar.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
By user experience, I mean that starting the BI 4.3, we propose new interfaces for the BI Launchpad and for the web intelligence, being the viewer and the designer. So you have to get used to it. You have to train your end users on these new interfaces. Only the interfaces are new. Your Webi document remain exactly the same and will be exactly the same in BI 4.3. Same thing for the platform. Only the BI Launchpad in new, the information being displayed in it. The security settings, all the things you have done behind the scene remain exactly the same. Next slide, please. Regarding enterprise readiness, this is all about the things you can do to simplify the life of the IT department, new security enhancement to be top of the notch in terms of security settings, support the latest version of the specific databases, improve the auditing, and provide universes and auditing reports on top of that. That's part of the deal. You can get them with the BI 4.3. And last but not least, next slide, please. Hybrid. What is it? This is to make sure that all your investment within SAP business objects remain available and can be reused. We did hybrid, which means that we introduced a new concept. We call this the Web Intelligence data model, which is everything we have done into Webi document, being the queries, the synchronized queries, the variables, the complex variables, everything we have done before to create your report can be leveraged by another tool. And the tool we are talking about is, of course, SAP Analytics Cloud. First thing, and second thing, also Webi itself, which means that all your Webi document, not only your Webi document, but also all your relational universes can be used to create new dashboard by using SAP Analytics Cloud. And also, if you want to use your Webi data model in a smart way, you can do Webi on Webi. You can create a Webi document on top of an existing complex Webi document. So it was the 3 pillars for the BI 4.3. Since this release, we delivered the Service Pack 1, the Service Pack 2, and if you focus on the Service Pack 3, next slide, please. We had also 3 main objectives regarding Web Intelligence. Priority number 3, we wanted to continue to improve the usability and to propose cumulative enhancement, for example, for the charts. We have a new trade chart. We support, again, the pixel perfect formatting, and so on and so on. This is mostly things to simplify the life of the power user, the person who designed the Webi document. Priority number 2, extend the possibility regarding the Web Intelligence. It means that within Webi, we open the possibility to access information stored in your favorite drive, being a Microsoft OneDrive, for example, or Google Drive. Both are supported to access the information in it or to export information into this kind of drive. Last but not least, as part of the priority number 2, everything now you create inside Web Intelligence, starting the BI 4.3 Service Pack 3, can be shared as an OData URL. And you can use this OData URL in any third-party tool that can read, consume an OData flow. And priority number 1, and that will be the focus of my demo. Next slide, please. Guess what? We propose a brand new interfaces inside Web Intelligence that will let you acquire the data, transform the data, synchronize the data. This is all about data transformation and enrichment directly into Web Intelligence. Why did we do that? Because whatever you want to do by using Web Intelligence, this can be a report, a paginated report, a complex report, or even a dashboard by using the need for these visualizations. The baseline, the very first thing you have to be sure that is correct is the data. You can synchronize data in Webi up to 4.3 Service Pack 3. We call this function merge data, but it was not easy. Now, thanks to these new capabilities of data transformation and data enrichment, this step become easier. You will see this in a few seconds, and you can do what is described in this column. As an introduction, I think I'm going to stop here, and we will start the demo. Next slide, please. Mike, so we're going to do several things. First of all, we're going to analyze several data sets in order to analyze the sales of electrical vehicles in USA. All the data sets are stored in a Google Drive. It represents a huge data set with more than 500,000 lines that we will access and consume. We're going to do some combinations of the different files in order to create one data set. Let's start with the demo. I'm going to share my screen now. Present, share my screen. You let me know when you can see my screen, please. Share and...
Yes, we can see it.
Action. So for those who are new to the BI 4.3, this is a new BI 4.3 Launchpad. I'm going to open my Web Intelligence demo report, this one. This is a Web Intelligence report inside the the purified, the modernized and simplified Webi viewer, and to access all the new data transformation and data enrichment capabilities, you don't have to go into another tool. Everything is sit here on the screen. Next, below to the reading mode, you have the classical design mode, where you will access all the powerful design capabilities of Web Intelligence, thanks to this new way to display information. But what is new starting for the SAP 3 is this new button, data. This is what I want you to see and what I want to demo to all of you. The new data mode. Here is a screen. Into this data mode, you can do three main things. The first one is to preview your data in order to be confident that what you're going to consume corresponds to your needs. By default, I have already created the queries of the Excel file, TXT file being stored on a Google Drive. I'm not going to show you this step because this is classical, but I show you the preview mode. Preview mode, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes, and every time you're going to select a cube, you're going to see at the top of the screen all your data set corresponding to the different cube. So this is the first cube, geographic Florida. Florida electrical vehicle, that's data. And this is not a preview. This is the entire data set that you can look at, right? This is a real preview. And I can open all my data set by simply selecting the corresponding cube. That's the meaning of the orange things here. That's the first thing you can do, preview, and you can even maximize the area corresponding to the preview mode. As part of the preview mode, you can do a second thing. You can explore your data. And here, this becomes really interesting. Simply by clicking this button, you will be able to see every occurrence of the data behind each dimension, because one column equals one dimension in Webi. And you can do a count or sort descending, and you'll see that Miami represents 56 rows, Orlando 32 rows, etc., etc. So you can analyze your data this way and get used to it and verify that there is no mistake in your data set. Let's have a look at the second data set, Florida electrical vehicles, and let's look what I have in exploration mode. For example, if I look at county, and guess what? County will be is the key of this data set. If I scroll down a little bit, I might notice that there is some redundancy in the name. Gadsden and Gadsden. This is a mistake. Here comes the second thing you can do in the preview mode. Directly here, by selecting the column or directly the data into the column, I can transform them in one click. That's the meaning of the 3 dot here. 3 dot equal sort or turn the data in uppercase, lowercase, replace, do a sub-selection of the stream, add more information or group your data. In my case, what I want to do, I want to replace Gadsden by Gadsden. To achieve that, I can do it this way. Right click, replace. Here we go. I replace my wrong data with the right string. Missing was a D. I validate, and immediately in the cube, this is really dynamic. Here we go. Gadsden has disappeared, and everything has been computed under Gadsden, and you have the right number of rows corresponding. If I scroll down a little bit, there is a second mistake. Let's increase a little bit. Island rovers and islands. The mistake is based on this string. Let's replace again island rovers by islands. Okay, done in one click. So this is data transformation at your fingertips, right? One click. Where is islands? Islands is here now. Maybe another thing I want to do, I want to turn everything in uppercase. Here we go. This is quite powerful, right? And the last thing maybe I would like to do is this is a demo, right? I know my data, and I know that if I do a sort ascending, dimension county is my key. If I want to merge it with something else, preferably with another file with the same key, which is here, primary official name. If I turn ascending my column, this is Miami date, right? That I have to use and find in the corresponding file. So let's turn it in uppercase as well. And let's go back to Florida EV and correct the wrong value here. This is not date, replace, it has to be Miami dash date. Done. So as you can see, it's really easy to correct your data, get confidence in your data, and validate them. One last thing I would like to show you as part of the preview and transformation mode. Every time I'm applying a transformation on a given column or dimension, I can undo them. To undo this, I go here into the properties, I select the corresponding cube in the available cubes here. County is the column we are looking at. You see the small icon, it means that a transformation has been applied. If you want to know what kind of transformation, you select the dimension here, you go in properties, FX, and you are done. And you see the list of transformation being applied, which means that you can undo, modify your transformation in order to fall back to the initial state. Okay, so that's the two main things you can do firstly inside the data mode, preview the data and explore, transform in one-click fix to the ad hoc transformation actions here. And last but not least, you can combine your data. And here you're going to focus on the last area here. We call this the flow area. Coming back to my use case, I have several files, right? And each file corresponds to as one purpose. This is the Florida electrical vehicles with what kind of vehicles and be sold in Florida, their mark, the type, the amount, plus the zip code potentially. What I want to do is I want to enrich and finally build one final data set with all the different information here. I have the same information for Oregon and North Carolina, and I have geographical information that I would like to use to enrich the Florida dataset, and I have exactly the same thing for Oregon and North Carolina, additional geographical around latitude, longitude of specific county and city, and so on and so on. So how can I, based on the 4 initial datasets, arrive to build easily one final dataset that I will use to build a report or a dashboard that I can analyze finally? Like I said at the beginning, before in Webi, you had to use the merge dimension capability, which is, by the way, still there, but we wanted to propose you an easy way to achieve the same and potentially a visual way. So let's start. I want to combine Florida with additional geographical information coming from this GeoFlorida file. I'm going to select both files and click on the icon Combine. Here I get a new directory that let me choose what I want to do. You have 2 operators at your disposal, left join or hyphen. We will start with left join. If I want to join 2 files, I need a key. Like I mentioned, the key I'm going to use is county that you have enriched previously and transformed, and primary official county name of the second file. We add, and here we go. Now I can combine, and I create, behind the scene, what happened, we create a virtual cube, which is meaning of this green icon. This is the virtual cube. And guess what? Now you can preview your virtual cube, which is displayed and open automatically in the preview mode. You can explore it. And if you want, you can also transform, upgrade it by doing the things here, like turning things, replacing things, etc., etc. Second thing I would like to do, I have Oregon electrical vehicles and North Carolina electrical vehicles. Maybe the first thing I want to do, I want to merge both files. So let's do it again. I'm going to select it, the first one, the second one, I'm going to combine them. I don't want to do a left join. I would like the data of Oregon electrical vehicle to be added below the North Carolina electrical vehicle data. To achieve this, we do an append cube, which is a kind of add. In order to be sure this is a add, you have to make sure that the columns are strictly the same. And in our case, of course, they are strictly identical. Not in terms of naming, but at least in terms of correspondence, right? We have to be sure that at least vehicle GRW, if the name of the column is not the same, the data correspond in order to have proper data. And we create. Now we have a new cube with, again, the same number of columns, 13 columns, right? But the rows is just the additions of the rows of the first cube, Oregon, and the second cube, North Carolina. Okay. Now that you have almost two equivalent data sets, we need to do two more steps. We need to enrich the North Carolina combined cube with additional geographical information. So let's select both. Here we go. We combine. In this case, I want to do a left join because I want to add the geographical information next to the Oregon plus North Carolina. I have to select a key. The key is the zip code. Here we go. I'm adding this. Close, create. Again, I can preview my combined cube in order to make sure everything is fine. Last step, I select the two last virtual cube. Oh, excuse me, it means that my 20 minutes are over. Last step, I select the two last cube, and we're going to combine them again in order to have one final cube. So here it proposed me additional columns. I know that by default, some additional columns can be added, so such as the zip code, vehicle model correspond to vehicle name, add, county correspond to primary official county name, add, the measure DMV ID correspond to vehicle count, add, we close, we just do invert here, and we create. Here we go. We have many steps which are quite simple. Again, I can preview my data here and explore them. Okay. Last thing to do, maybe just to be clear, to clarify the different things. The name of the virtual cube is just the concatenations of the previous cube. We're going to rename this as final cube. This and update. Here we go. So what I show you that you can preview the data coming from the execution of the query. You can transform them, update them. You can combine them, being a left join or an append. This gives us virtual cube in green. Virtual cube can be combined and modified and transformed again with a purpose to achieve the construction of a final cube. Why do we do that? And this will be my final word. Here, if you look at the panel, you have many cubes. We have the original cubes and you have the virtual cubes. Do we want to display all of them to your end user and or designer? No. What you will keep finally is not all the cubes, but the main view. The main view is what your designer is going to manipulate to create a report, to create a dashboard using the need for these visualizations to analyze. And that's the purpose of this new data mode. All these capabilities are available directly in Webi engines. This is the end of my demo. Mike, I'm going to stop to share here. This is up to you now. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Gregory. That was amazing. Appreciate the demo. Now we're going to be moving into N4V self-service BI at your fingertips. And just a couple words about our company. Need for Visualization was created by two former business object consultants with more than 20 years of experience in the field of BI, SAP tools, as well as its ecosystem. And we've already adopted over 150,000 SAP Business Object users to really enhance their Webi data. We're an SAP partner company, and we work closely with the publisher, mainly because both our product development teams are located within the Paris metropolitan area, and we meet weekly to exchange ideas of marketing to really enhance our features. Now, N4V is a solution specifically dedicated to the SAP Webi #1 BI community. As you can see, we're utilized across many different industries across the globe. We offer a 4-in-1 solution. We allow our users to have the ability to create data graphical components, be able to put their data into cartography and plan components, be able to use a data analyzer, as well as be able to export their interactive components for online and offline use cases. Now, what we did for Webi is that we made a good service even better. And we did this by being able to utilize and create a data analyzer. What this does for its user, it enhances your capability with pivot tables, turns normal pivot tables into extended pivot tables. Look at the usability on this. Look at the ability to create graphs on the fly. And honestly, this is something that can be created in minutes with your development team instead of having your development team spend hours on projects like this. This is the true essence of our return on investment. We allow this to be an efficient, cost-effective way of being able to create these components for your reporting. Same with our dashboard. We turn Webi into a dashboard. We allow you to use multiple different components, from data visualization components to our math components to create heat maps, to be able to show charts, be able to show different types of reporting functions, to be able to tell your story with these reports. And these, as I mentioned before, these can be done very quickly. Same with interaction and exploration of your data. So how quickly you can move from one data point to another without having to leave the interactive component. This is just another example of how we make things more efficient and cost-effective for our users. Same with navigation. As you can see here, you can navigate to certain data points with just a simple click of the button without having to leave the component. You stay on the same page while you pull up different data sets to really tell your story. And with geo-mapping capabilities, we allow you to import your data into geo-mapping solutions. As you can see here, here's a map of state and county popular votes in the past election. As you can see here, we're looking at state of California, and we have the ability to drill down into county election information while staying on the same page, and then being able to quickly click over to Louisiana without skipping a beat. In addition, you have the ability to export your data via HTML, your component data and interactive capabilities via HTML for both online and offline use cases. Very quick, very simple. And this is the essence of Webi, of N4V for Webi. We allow you a more cost-effective and efficient way of being able to create your reports to save you time and money. In addition, we provide you over 50 interactive components for your reporting needs. We allow you the ability, as we illustrated before, to use online mapping with Google Maps. You have the ability to create heat maps, be able to use geocode addresses as well as lat and longitude coordinates. For OpenStreetMaps, we give you the ability to create charts as well as being able to analyze your data. Also, you can integrate your own maps. This is unlimited performance possibilities. You can ingest any type of locations of points of interest, such as airport maps, planes, stadiums, boats, buildings, factories, hospitals. You have a map of a specific structure, we can help you integrate it. And not only that, you have the ability to export your data via HTML and be able to keep all the navigational components and drillability to be able to view on devices such as tablets and smartphones. You can export the interactive components to SharePoint, FTP sites, and HTML to be able to use on your internet or external net. In addition, we give you the ability to use our components and offline settings in PowerPoint presentations, and it integrates the same type of interactive components onto PowerPoint. Now, also, we would like to invite you to go to needforviz.com. Here you can go to our demo set. Here you can start playing with all the different components that we're going to be showing you today. Jérôme is actually going to be going over some of these components, and this will kind of give you an idea of how we make this happen. It's a very simple and easy way for you to be able to kind of get a look and feel of what we bring to the table and be able to show you the interactability and what N4V looks like and how it can help you guys in creating reports. And now we're going to the demo portion of N4V for Webi. What Jérôme is going to be doing is going to be taking the data mode data set that Grégory created for the EV sales, and he's going to show you how N4V for Webi can help you analyze the sales of EV models in counties. He's going to be able to show you geographic analysis of sales with Google Maps, and then be able to show you how HTML integration can fit nicely into a PowerPoint presentation. And what I'd like to do is just give you a quick highlight of Jérôme Maillard's very impressive career. He's over a 20-year veteran in the business object industry. He has worked at SAP as a business object architect, as well as a business consultant for business objects. And with his knowledge base, Jérôme was able to create N4V for Webi and has helped over 150,000 Webi users enhance their data. And at this point, I'd like to turn over the reins for Jérôme to be able to show you this demo. Jérôme?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for this presentation. As you said, I'm going to share my screen and to show you how we can integrate some N4V elements into a Webi report and what you can do with our solution. So here, with Grégory's work on the data, I have now a data set on which I can rely and with which I'm able to play. And first of all, we integrated some navigation element, what we call navigation element in N4V. And with that, I'm able to filter the data, okay? So let's say I want to select some Chevrolet, Chrysler, and as we are on EV vehicle, Tesla, of course. And I'm going to apply, okay? And when I apply, I can see that I have 131 pages, okay? So I can switch to full screen too, to use my full screen to analyze my data. I can, for example, select some year on which I want to analyze those data, and also to focus on, for example, on Miami-Dade. Okay, Miami-Dade. And I've done my filtering really easily and inside the report and with the full screen activated. Okay, now I'm going to reset my selection and I'm going to show you how we can use the data analyzer that we are providing to get to join it into the data. So I'm going to show you how we integrate an N4V element into a Webi report. So you just have to do like you do with any other element in Webi. So turn into, just select the button here, and here you can see all the N4V element, more than 50 that we are able to integrate into Webi. I'm going to select this one, and just by doing this, okay, I'm going to resize it. And I have my data analyzer ready for the show. Okay, so let's switch to full screen. And here it's not the full report that the full Webi report, it's the N4V component in which I'm working, okay? Here I have the element that I want to analyze, so I can add all the elements I want, not technology, I'm not interested, and vehicle model here is not a measure. So I'm going to apply, and you can see that in 1 second, all my elements are ready to play. I can fold, unfold, and I can change the hierarchy I want to analyze the data. So if I want to start with the state name, the county, the brand, and the model, I'm ready to play. Now, what I'm going to show you is how I can add some fields and calculated fields. So I'm going to create a rate. So the EV rate by population, and I prepared the formula. I just to copy it best, but of course you can do what you want. Okay? And I apply, and now I have an issue. No, I don't have an issue. Okay. Okay. And so I just have something to edit because there was something. Okay, no, it should be okay. Okay. And I'm going to format the number and say that it's a percentage. And now I have the right value. Okay. And sum of population is not really interesting, so I can delete, remove the measure. And now I'm able to see what I want to see. So we are at the beginning of the EV. It's why the percentage are really small. And if I go further in the years, I can see that it changed a lot. So maybe that what I can do is to apply a filter because it's not interesting to analyze those data. So you can see that I could have done it. It could have been done into Webi, but I could do it also directly in the interface. And I have some vehicle count. So I don't want to see any decimal, so I'm going to remove them. Okay, so now I have my data set that is ready to analyze, and I can go to North Carolina. I can click and sort the data to ensure that I have the county on which I were sold the most of EV vehicles. I can maybe select something here, okay, and here I have my details data, the cross of the data. I can change the display of the data. I can add or remove some information. If I want to keep the number of vehicle count, I have the solution here. And what I can do is Control-C, Control-V. So if I copy, I can paste it into Excel if I want to bring the data outside of the N4V element. And what is also really interesting is that I can update the data. So if I need to simulate something, I can do it in the N4V command. It's not going to update anything, except if I want, because we are able to export the updated values. But if I just do that, then now you can see that the percentage increased a lot, of course, because I multiply by 1,000. And if I come back to my data are updated with this value. Okay. So now I can click, and here you can see that current YUK is now 2015 because, of course, I changed the data. Okay, if I come back, then I will have the previous data. What I can also do is to combine with a chart, and I can add a chart on the left. And you can see that there is a relationship between the chart and the data. So that's something really interesting to do. And you can see that I can change my analyze just by moving the dimension here. And now when I'm going to drill into the data, I will see the changes. I can change also the kind of indicator I want to work on. Okay, so I'm going to unfull screen and to go back to my previous view. I can switch to full screen here, and what you can do also is to mix the Webi filters and the N4V filter. So I'm going to add here any other values. We can add, for example, Porsche. We can add Toyota. We can add maybe Kia, and I'm going to apply. So it's going to recalculate all the data. And now, if I fold, I can see that the other brands are added to my data analyzer, and I'm ready for the analysis. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this view. I'm going to switch to another tab in which we want to compare the percentage of vehicle compared to the population. So we want to know what's the conversion rate in terms of population that acquire an electric vehicle. So I'm going to switch to design. I'm going to select my table, and I'm going to add N4V relations element, which is a double Sankey. So I'm ready. And okay, I need to fill two measures because it's a double Sankey. And here I have the component ready to work. So I can resize it, and I'm going to update some properties so that you know exactly how our components are working. So I'm going to play on the size of the police. I'm going to remove the precision from measure 1 because it's a number of vehicles. I'm going to increase the precision of the measure. I'm going to add a percentage unit, and I'm going to fix to 10 the percentage, and I'm going to apply a N4V palette. It means that you are able with that to set your own palette, and it's going to apply to every component that are using N4V elements. Okay. Now, what I can see is that Tesla, with that chart, is that Tesla is selling the biggest number of vehicles, and in Florida, in majority. If I do the same with Chevrolet, it's quite the same for the number of sold vehicles, but you can see that in Oregon or North Carolina, that they are selling much more than Tesla. And I can, with that chart, I can compare the two indicators in the same way. So it's really interesting to see what's the policy of each brand to sell the vehicles. Now I'm going to analyze with the offline analysis, because Mike showed you what we are able to do with our component. So here I have I have a slider. We are in 2019, and you can see that in Florida here we have nearly 0.8% of electric vehicle. Now, if I update to 2020, so I'm updating my value with the slider, and it's going to recalculate. And now we can see that in Florida for your 2020, we are nearly at 3%, okay? And as our components are dynamics, then I can hide some measure to display others and see what are, and have a better reading, okay? Now what I want to do is to control my map on the left with my map on the right. So I have the data in 3 states, which are Oregon, North Carolina, and Florida. And I'm going to click, for example, on Florida. So I know that I have more than 600,000 sold vehicles. And automatically, it drills to Florida. I can see the data that are used to calculate the sum, and I can filter inside the data, copy them if I need. If I only want the data for Audi in Florida, then I can do it like this. But I can also add more information about the county that I have in Florida, and I'm going to click on Palm Beach, for example, and I can see that Chevrolet sent a lot of vehicle compared to the other one. But if I go to the detailed data, I can also see that Ford has more than them, and I can click on Ford, and what I'm going to see is that I'm going to add more data, a detailed value about the data about Ford in Florida and the county that I've selected, okay? And if I want to filter, it's really easy because I just have to select in my list the information that I want. So if I go to a brand which has more vehicles sold, then I can do the same and select and see what are the detailed data for it. Now what I want to do, what I'm going to do is to analyze the data using some the online mapping. So here you can see that I have OpenStreetMap, and you can see that I can switch to full screen, and with the data preparation that Grégory made, I have the zip code, I have the city name, and I can see exactly on each point what was the electric vehicle that was sold in each zip code. So that's really the power of the data preparation that I add with my files of data that were not so precise. I'm going to come back. Here I have my navigation element. I can click on North Carolina, for example, and of course it's going to focus on North Carolina. Now I have some cities in North Carolina. I can select some of them, and I'm going to be able to see the cities that I've selected, and I can read really easily the data that I'm interested in. Finally, we have the race bar. In the race bar, we can see how things are going through the time. So here I have the data for all the states, and if I go to North Carolina, I'm going to see the data, but just for North Carolina. So you can see in the time what are the evolution of each brand. Now I'm going to come back to this table because Mike told you that we are able to export our component as HTML. I'm going to select my component. I'm going to select the export HTML. I'm going to export the chart and fill the information to do it. So I'm going to fill the information here. Here. Okay, and it's going to
Here.
Yeah, it's
Can
okay.
you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, as Jerome, that was excellent, Jerome. Very cool, very smooth. As you can see, Jerome spent just a few, maybe about 10, 15 minutes while he was explaining it, putting this data together and then exporting the data to this PowerPoint presentation. And as you can see, the component has lost none of its exploration or navigation. It's able to paint a picture of exactly what the reporter is looking to do. And as Jerome did it so eloquently, he put this together in just a few minutes. This is just a testament to ways in which we can help you make this process, reporting development process with your reporting, much quicker, more streamlined, and very professional and polished. Now, N4V, it's a win-win solution. We're an integration with SAP Business Object. And what does that mean? Well, that means that the data never ever leaves the business object environment. So there's no data prep. The data and users are already ready. Data is certified and known. Governances are secure as far as IS security and authorization. We're a proven solution. We offer widespread expertise. We're sustainable and stable. There's no change management, and it's easy user adoption. If you know Webi, you know Need4Viz, and it takes maybe the average person about a half-day of training to become an expert like Jerome. And as Jerome illustrated through the data mode that Grégory had created, the solution is easy. It's plug and play. There's no code, no parameterization. Need4Viz elements are fully integrated, and you can use Webi as a dashboard. We're suitable for all environments. So whatever operating system you're using, whether it's Windows or Linux, you can use us. As far as data storage, if you're using online cloud service or on-premise, we can take that data. And the great thing about this is that, as I explained, we can save you time and money. We're efficient and cost-effective. We can get you up and running within 2 quarters. Compared to our competitors that normally take about 2 years to go live, we can get you up and running and make you realize that return on investment much sooner. We're offering 3 major component releases every year, and we're constantly evolving the usefulness and utility of the components that we're creating, such as flight routes, drillable pyramids, and the ability to use Google GeoJSON. Now, at this point of the presentation, I'd like to hand over the reins back to Grégory, where he's going to be talking a little bit about what's going to be on the outlook for SPO4, as well as BI, SAP BI going into 2025. And with that, Grégory, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Quickly, first of all, I really like the word Supercharge Webi because, as you can see, the capabilities provided by the Need4Viz visualizations are really great. You're not going to find this easily in other third-party tools, and it's good and very good, in fact, that you can use this on top of all your existing Web Intelligence document to increase your use cases, whatever your use cases are. Regarding the future, I quickly presented the BI 4.2 Service Pack 3. You have the SP4, which is in preparation for December 2023, so December this year. It will be a small service pack, the Service Pack 4. We will focus mostly on improving the new data mode by introducing, for example, more operator. In SP3, we support left join and append. With the Service Pack 4, we will support right join, full outer join, and so on, and the ability to create calculations directly into the data mode. There is additional cumulative things, right? I will let you discover or to follow our news to get the most recent information. But the most important, like I said at the beginning of the call, we are committed to continue to invest into your on-premise BI suite, and we will deliver in the future. In December 2024, we will propose you the new SAP Business Objects BI 2025. The content of this release is under definition, so stay tuned, but we will have more or less 3 or 4 main priorities. The first one, because this one I know has already started to be elaborated, we will propose you, in addition of the data mode, in addition of the reporting capabilities, we will propose a brand new way to create dashboard. Dashboard and widget is the focus number 1 of this BI 2025. By dashboard, I mean real dashboard, something that fit on your screen with everything in place that you can see and use directly. Second one is to continue to simplify the report creation. Here we are thinking of our power user. I think that everything that takes more than 4 clicks should be forbidden. So which means that you can be prepared of additional simplifications in the interface. You should be able to, if you are a newbie in Webi, first of all, you should not be trained. Second things, you should be able to create a graph, a chart, being the one provided by Webi or the one provided by Need4Viz in 1 click. And last but not least, we will also tackle the mobile use cases and some other things. Regarding the BI 2025, I would like to remind you there will be some changes in terms of content. By content, I mean the tools being supported and provided, tools and components being part of the BI 2025. I really encourage all of you to have a look at the last version, to read the last version of a public document called SAP Analytic Statement of Direction. It contains all the details regarding the future directions that SAP Business Objects is going to take for the SAP Business Objects BI 2025. This being said, shortly and quickly, I would like to thank you all for your participation. I would like to thank you all, and specifically Need4Viz, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share with you all the great news regarding business objects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gregory. We appreciate your assistance and, of course, SAP's partnership and support it's provided us. We look forward to many years of productivity with this relationship. At this point, I would like to start reading off some of the questions that we developed. If Jérôme, if you could take your screen, I will go ahead and look at the questions.
Yes. What do you want me to do?
Can you share your
Yes.
screen while I go look at the questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
You are on the screen. We can see you.
Okay.
There was a lot of question, and feel free to ask your question. We are here to answer all what you can have in mind and related to what you've seen.
Okay. Jérôme, I'm filling in my first question. Hopefully you can answer it. What pricing do you offer based for N4V for Webi? I can answer this question. Our pricing is pretty much based on the number of SAP Webi licenses. We offer an on-premise or an annual subscription. Another question here is your solution resource intensive? No, this is an add-on service to SAP Webi, so it's a smooth integration with them. Let's look at this. Next question, is the installation complex to carry out? No, N4V installs in a flash, usually less than a half a day. And let's see, what else? Where are the Need4Viz servers hosted? Well, Need4Viz is a French publisher. The servers are located in France. Let's see, got one other question here. What is the training time to be expected? Well, our training program ranges anywhere from 1 to 3 days, really depending on the level of maturity of the employees on business objects.
Okay, I can see some questions that are replied on the fly. So maybe that we can select a few of them, even if we have the reply. Does the exported HTML contains the data? It could be distributed and used also in offline mode with all interaction. That's exactly that. It's why our customer love our HTML export is because they are able to export the data and use them in the same manner than they are working inside Webi. Okay, there was something about the mobile, so you can do some mobile export with our component because they are responsive. So you have to build the report that will make it available for mobile, and as our components are responsive, then they will adapt to the size of the screen. There is another one. Could we do simple formulas in data mode, combine 2 dimensions, for example? I think, Grégory, you can help us on that.
Yep, yes, of course, of course. First of all, of course, you can do simple formula or complex formula in Web Intelligence already in the design mode. In the data mode in BI 4.3 SP3, this is not possible. So if you want to achieve that, you will have to read the BI 4.3 Service Pack 4, where we will give you the ability to create simple and complex formula directly in the data mode. And benefit of this, you will preview the result of your formula directly in the data mode in order to be reused, transform, merge, and so on and so on. So yes, this is on the roadmap.
That's really cool. That's something that will help a lot our users. Okay. What else? Is data mode combining works with multiple universes too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we support a lot of the database and data sources that you have at your disposal, right? Regarding the universes, yes, you can query multiple universes and combine them into this data mode. In fact, this data mode is a very good alternative if you are using multi-source universes. Once again, multi-source universes, if you're not aware of, this capability is going to stop by the end of the BI 4.3 and will not be part of the BI 2025. So if you're looking for a very good alternative, we encourage you to have a look at this data mode into Webi to replace your multi-source universes, whatever the database is behind each universe.
Okay, thanks a lot, Grégory, for this explanation. I think all the other small questions were replied on in the chat. So thanks a lot, Grégory, again, to be with us today and to give some future direction with SP4, with BI 2025. So thanks a lot again. Thanks a lot to all our attendees. We are sorry for the problem that we had with LinkedIn, but we are going to put the replay on LinkedIn and ensure that everybody will be able to have the information and will be able to see the webinar. we will do it really quickly. Okay.
Yes, and we will be doing a quick follow-up with all the attendees to see if they have any questions or would like to talk a little bit more about how N4V for Webi can assist them. And
Okay.
for myself, Gregory, and Jerome, it's been a pleasure, people. Thank you.
It was
Yes,
a pleasure
it was a
too,
pleasure.
Mike. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
So, thanks everybody. Have a good day, and talk to you soon for a new webinar.
Look
Bye
forward to
bye.
it.